Hello and welcome back to When the Night Comes. I'm Agent of Mischief. Let's hop on in, shall we? The sun shyly disappears behind the horizon as I step into the magic shop, passing what I assume to be Ezra's final customer for the night with a smile. He looks exhausted when I catch his eye across the counter, but he still smiles warmly when I approach. You look tired. So do you. Ezra huffs a quiet laugh, and Coco peeps loudly at him, appearing from between his feet with her usual attitude. He rolls his eyes before looking down at the feline, raising a dark brow at her almost accusingly. No, absolutely not. She chirps at him in return, and I swear she almost looks angry. I'm sorry? Says sorry, it's nothing. He gently nudges Coco with his foot, and with a defiant flick of her tail, she darts through the purple curtain into the back room. Cats, eh? He picks up a pile of books stacked by the cash register and inclines his head for me to follow him. I oblige, watching as he pops each one back into its rightful place.
How was your day? You feeling okay?
He turns, eyeing my side, knowing full well his magic healed me perfectly, and yet still finding the time to worry for me. Though unconsciously, I still press my hand over the place where the wound once lay, an almost phantom ache settling deep into my ribs. As if my body is aware that there should be something there. Physically, I'm fine. The last book gets pushed between its shelf mates, and Ezra turns to face me fully, concern etched upon his face.
Just physically?
You need to figure this out before everyone gets hurt. I clear my throat, offering him a clipped smile. I just feel like I'm in limbo with the whole Harry situation. I'm supposed to be on my way to see August right now, and yet... You can't bring yourself to go. I shake my head, letting my hand fall numbly to my side. Still, I fight to keep the true extent of my worry off my face, pretending that the hurt, bitter undercurrents of the knowledge I was burdened with don't leave me feeling nauseous. For now, the only thing I can do is try to be honest, but try to be strong. For them. For all of them. No, I can't. I love you, I think, my stomach twisting unhappily at the thought of anything ever happening to Ezra. Suddenly, annoyingly, I find myself in understanding with Fen, with why he distanced himself. The target is on my back, or will be at least, and as long as Ezra stands so firmly by my side, he'll be my collateral damage. Won't he? He steps forward quietly, cautiously, knowing me well enough by now to see the way I'm falling apart. Wordlessly, he takes my hand, brushing his thumb over my still bruised knuckles. Let me make you some tea? He dips his head and his pretty emerald eyes sparkle. I'd like that. He laces our fingers together and leads me into the back room. I spare the stairs a glance as he busies himself with filling the kettle, wondering if I'd get away with scurrying up there and hiding beneath his soft sheets.
You know, I can quite literally see your thoughts and where they linger, and as much as I'd love to do exactly as you desire, you happen to be a very important person, and I'd have Gus casting a storm above my shop if I keep you here.
The kettle whistles quietly on the stove as it begins to boil, and Ezra smirks at me, turning to head right for me like a cat stalking its prey. He places his palms flat against my chest, his warmth seeping through my clothes down to my skin. He dips his lashes invitingly, and they fan atop freckled cheeks, pink creeping over russet skin.
A kiss wouldn't be so bad, would it?
Are you trying to distract me? He steps closer, our noses brushing as he hums quietly in folk contemplation.
Is it working?
I can smell a hint of vanilla, of mint, scents that almost long to spark some long-lost memory in me. I draw in a deep breath, filling my lungs with him before I lean in to close that gap that dares to part us. The low whine he muffles against my lips makes something bloom fierce and bright within my chest. A deep need spikes sudden and fast and hot within me, and my brain short-circuits as it tries to think of all the places I could push him back up upon in this tiny kitchen. Table, sofa, countertop, wall. As if he can detect my skittering, filthy thoughts, Ezra fists the front of my shirt, tugging me closer. Our bodies seem tight enough that I can feel every gentle shift of his lean muscles against me. Then, the kettle whistles, loud and obnoxious, tearing us both from the little fit of desperation we've kissed ourselves into. He steps back as if he's been shocked, hands held up in surrender.
Oh. Oops. It would appear that you've almost successfully coaxed me to do exactly as you desire then. Tricky.
I exhale sharply, adjusting my clothing, watching as he turns and grabs a noisy kettle and yanks it off the stove. Sorry. He hums, purrs even.
You never need to apologize for that.
The tea is poured into his pretty little cups and handed to me with an almost shy smile. We take a seat upon the table. I run my hands through my messy hair, trying to tame it, and he watches me with a fond gaze over the rim of his cup. Gus will be with you, won't they? If so, I imagine you and them will be more than capable of handling anything Harry tries to throw at you. I've been meaning to ask. He sets his drink aside, crossing his arms upon the table and staring me down with his wide, wise eyes. How are you going to approach him exactly? I mean, you've had time to process all of this, a little anyway. I bite my lip, almost wanting to hold back the rage I feel broiling and bubbling in my chest. The things Harry has done, the things the enforcers have done. Centuries of pain and suffering, tearing children from their families and turning them into monsters. I'll put a stop to this. Finish it, once and for all. He reaches for me across the table, taking my hand in his own and holding it tightly.
You'll be careful, won't you? Promise me that.
I study him for a long minute, wanting to respond immediately and with conviction, but I'm unsure of what I might come to face. I'll do my best. We sit in silence for a little while, only to have it broken by a quiet tap, tap, tap. I look around and down, realizing it's coming from underneath the floor. Ah, of course. Finnegan. Ezra and I share a smile. We both stand, and Ezra reaches to unlock the latch that keeps the opening to the catacombs locked while I pull back the rug that covers it. Good evening, lovebirds. Finnegan, please.
I came as soon as I sensed you were here.
Raven is on their way to see August. Finn crinkles his nose at that, apparently unimpressed.
I was hoping I could steal you away for a little while, actually. Not for anything nefarious. Fierro simply longs to speak to you.
Oh? Oh. Does he have any more information? Does he have more information? He shrugs.
I'm not sure. He's not exactly a man of many words. If he's asked for you, then I take it that he has at least something to tell you.
He definitely isn't just wanting a friendly chat, that's for sure.
I see. Well, considering I'm still avoiding going to see August, we could go now? Excellent. I press a kiss to Ezra's cheek to bid him farewell, stepping to join Finn as he bends to open the hatch. So see you later? I nod, hoping I can return to him sooner rather than later, after that. Of course. Into the hole you go. Ezra and I both look at him with blank expressions, and he merely rolls his eyes, sighs, and ushers me onwards. We say goodbye to Ezra, watching as we descend down into the depths of the catacomb tunnels. A shadowy figure waits for us outside of Finn's quarters, and I smile when I see a shock of white hair and friendly crimson eyes. Hunter Adventurous, it's a pleasure to see you again. It's good to see you too, under better circumstances this time. If I look hard enough, I swear I can see his mouth twitch. Fierro studies me with a certain intensity for a moment, and I feel a strange sense of calm washing over me, but he frowns, a blink and you'll miss it thing, but I see it before his face falls into that carefully calculated stoicism. I will not keep you long. I just wanted to thank you for finding me. I owe you a debt of gratitude for assisting with my extraction. I gather you'll be meeting with the Lieutenant General soon. I swallow thickly, my throat tight all of a sudden. There it is again. That uncertainty, that push and pull of conflicting emotions that swirl in my gut and almost suffocates me. I nod a little too quickly, and though Fierro doesn't show it, I know he can feel my unease. I will be, yes, whenever he decides to show his face. Finn scoffs at that, leaning against a jagged stone wall with a perfect kind of handsome nonchalance that not many could achieve.
If he ever decides to again. If I was him, I'd have left town the second the first body turned cold.
Pharaoh continues to watch me, his stare unwavering. Well, the sooner the better. I'd quite like all of this to be over. Indeed. Finn nudges him with his elbow, and Pharaoh barely shifts, holding himself like some ancient statue in almost unnerving stillness. Tell them what you saw in the dungeons before you were rescued. There was a lot of commotion down there the night you killed the creature. They were unorganized, clearly distressed. I watched carefully, and I saw something strange. A hunter, or what was once a hunter. Now I'm not so sure. I paled at the thought, remembering the way the creature looked at me as it lunged, teeth bared. And the way my body told me I was fighting one of my own before I ended its life. His life. It was female, of that much I am certain. She was wailing all night after they shoved her back into one of the cells. They must have been in a rush because they weren't as cautious as hiding her as they had been before. She's more whole than the other one, but whatever they've done to her, she's too far gone. Driven mad. Feral, even. I've never felt anything quite like it. An impossible flurry of pain and confusion, but mostly anger. No. Finn steps forward, seeing the way my eyes widen and my hands begin to shake. I can't face another. Raven? I look at Finn, noting his concern over the way my heart lurches in my chest. I nod at him, exhaling a sharp breath to refocus. You're sure? The quiet vampire nods, his lips pursed into something that looks like an attempt at a grimace. I am certain, and I am also sorry. It's fine. It's expected, actually, just hurts to hear, to have it confirmed. I nod. We will not let you face it alone. You will never be alone. Pharaoh shares a look with Finn before nodding his agreement. I will leave you now. Thank you, Pharaoh. He offers us a stiff bow as Finn pushes open the door to his quarters, making a beeline for the carafe of scotch upon his desk. Pharaoh casts me a final lingering glance before he disappears into the darkness. I can't help but feel like he sensed something in me that he didn't like, but whatever it was, I'm unsure. I close the door to his quarters, finding him sitting upon his bed, 2 glasses of his favorite poison clutched in his hands. Would you like one? Looks like you could use it. I pry the crystal tumbler from his grip, nodding my thanks as I bring it to my lips. It's delicious, refreshing, and it has just the right amount of burn as it slides out of my throat that I almost forget my troubles for a blissful moment. Thank you. He raises his glass towards me before he takes a sip of his own, humming his approval. I miss being drunk, you know. Just the peace it used to bring me. Which wasn't necessarily a good thing, but oh, did I have my fun. His laugh is wistful, and I wonder how long a vampire lives before they begin to forget their human days. I daren't ask him, for I don't want to sour the mood, but one day, maybe. Surely there are ways for you to become inebriated, even if it's not quite the same. Finn shrugs. Sure there is. There are many ways, actually, but the buzz wears off before you can really even enjoy it. Besides, there are other ways to find pleasure. And I'm sure you've explored them all. I laugh the way he waggles his brows, his pointed ears twitching alongside them. As he watches me, his smile fades, his dark brows drawn together. His dark brows drawn together. He drops his gaze to his lap, his brow twitching into a frown. Now tell me, what do you intend to say to dear Harold when you finally face him? His eyes search my face, as if looking for answers I don't know how to give, or don't want to give. I ponder my response because, truly, my thoughts are still jumbled, anxiety mounting. But one thing I know for sure is that what Harry has done, is doing, is wrong. I'll confront him and expect straight answers. I want to know why he did it.
I just ask that you're careful. No sound-minded man would make the decisions that he has. Of that much I'm sure. You don't know how he'll react to being confronted.
He's right, and somehow that thought hadn't crossed my mind. But Harry cares for August deeply, and they will be by my side. I'm not sure Harry would want to bring harm to August or even myself. He's gonna get his ass beat by the Enby squad if he's not careful. And by the Enby squad, I mean me and August. Finn looks at me like I've gone mad.
He's directly responsible for the death of his husband. You and August are just collateral damage at this point. He killed Levi, and that seemed like an impossible feat to me for a very long time. Centuries, even. He's strong.
He said James to help him. He had James to help him, didn't he? Finn scoffs and I can tell his frustration is mounting.
You've seen his face and that pretty scar? He fought Leviathan Casimir, and he lives to tell the tale. And my sire? He's Ash. I spent centuries terrified of him, watching him terrorize whole countries, just for fun.
I love that this man's name was Leviathan Casimir. He sounds like a terrible human being, but this is the drama of having that name. I stare at him with a strange way he almost vibrates. Is it fear, maybe? Something long ingrained in him after the hell his sire put him through that the mere thought of the man has shaken him like this? Harold Addington put him down in one night with the same ease in which he puts his boot on in the morning. I suppose I should go then. I don't exactly sound convincing. In fact, I think I'd be quite happy to stay down here and hide away from my responsibilities for a little longer. But I must be responsible, unfortunately. Finn shifts to stand, running a hand through his hair, rubbing at his chin. He's twitchy tonight, showing more signs of humanity than I'm used to from him.
I know I said it already, but be careful.
I smile at him, reaching for the handle of the door. I've fought much bigger, much scarier things than Harold Addington. As the words leave my mouth, I feel a terrible dread washing over me, and Finn notices.
Never underestimate your foe, especially when they have nothing to lose.
Farewell, Hunter. I find August in their office, staring at their desk. It's rife with papers strewn in different stacks, but without its usual method. They look worse than usual, less despondent, almost as if they've given up being prompt and orderly, but I know that's not the case. August is adept at keeping the flow of reports moving quickly, a stickler for punctuality. I tap the door once with my knuckles, and they grant me permission to enter with a lazy nod of their head.
Days like today make me wonder if I should just pack all of this in and run home to my parents with my tail between my legs. Or maybe become a nomad or something.
I know that's not true, but the defeat in their tone makes me think they've been like this for some time. I don't think the nomad lifestyle is quite for you, August. They huff a laugh, sighing heavily, uncharacteristically slumped in their chair.
One day, hopefully soon, we'll be free from the shackles of all this corruption. I'll bring order to Lunaris. Or I guess I'll at least die trying. I've never been very good at quitting.
I poke at the seemingly never-ending pile of parchment and take a seat before them, pointedly ignoring their macabre declaration. It's just macabre. I always have to say macabre in a weird way, macabre. Because that's how it's spelled, damn it. What is all of this anyway? There seems to be more than usual. August shrugs, waving their hand dismissively over the mess.
Take your pick. Reports, complaints, and all of the petty bureaucratic bullshit that Harry usually deals with.
I so graciously offered to take some of his work off his hands when James passed. His lips curl into a snarl, their teeth bared, and their next words are almost venomous, distinctly lacking emotion. Aren't I kind? They're tired, frustrated, overworked, and apparently overcome with bitterness. In one way, I'm grateful. Seeing them upset and so downtrodden over Harry, I hated it, but this mood doesn't suit them. I truly long for a day where I see them well rested and appreciated. I just want to know you're going to be okay. You're working yourself to the bone. Another dismissive wave of their hand, and I gather I'm not going to get much more out. Blah. And I gather I'm not going to get much more than that out of them. I will be fine, Raven. I have to be, don't I? I watch as they pinch the bridge of their nose, their weak argument not all that convincing. A quiet knock at the door grabs their attention, and a timid junior pokes their head around the frame, awkwardly raising their hand at August. General Willenheim? They raise their brow at him, their impatience clear. What? You asked me to let you know when the Lieutenant General returned. Well, he's in his office. I just saw him. Thank you, recruit. You can go now, and do not tell anyone what I asked of you. I see the heavy bob of their throat and the flush that paints their cheeks as August quickly moves to stand, and with a nod the boy scurries away. August and I share a look, and I wonder if they're thinking the same as me, that we're not ready, or that we don't want this, scared of what we'll learn and that it'll all become real at long last. August places a trembling hand upon my arm, their eyes wide and bright, and when they speak there's a sort of manic edge to their words, their voice.
I need to know how you feel about all of this before... I need to know because I cannot make up my mind.
They tighten their grip on me, and for the first time since I've known them, August Willenheim looks scared. I feel something thick in the air, a kinetic shift, an almost suffocating buzz. August, breathe. They exhale sharply, and their aura is distinctly panicked. I place my hand over theirs and feel a shock as our skin meets, but my touch calms them enough for the air to clear, so I relent and don't pull away. It's okay. It's going to be okay. No, it's not. It's not. They shake me off, pacing, angry tears trailing their cheeks.
Everything I worked for, everything I've ever stood for. I saw him as my mentor, a man who raised me with a kindness my father would never even dream of showing me.
Was I so blinded by that affection that I didn't see the evil in him? I shake my head, knowing August is not a bad judge of character. Harry is just good. Good at manipulating, or spectacularly talented in dissociation. You weren't to know, August. None of us knew, or could possibly dream it might be him. They scoff, rolling their eyes.
I followed him about with doe eyes, lapping up any scraps of approval he dared to lavish me with. I've always been desperate to be acknowledged and told I'm doing a good job. He gave that to me in abundance.
I don't believe he realizes that what he's doing is wrong, but that doesn't excuse it, and nor does it make you complicit. August laughs at that maniacal sound.
No one evil ever sees themselves as so. I've encountered it enough to know that much.
We stand in silence for what feels like forever, both of us gathering our thoughts, our courage. This isn't going to be easy or even marginally fun, but shall we... Before I get the chance to finish my sentence, I hear the all too familiar heavy thud of boots in the corridor. And then Lieutenant General Harold Addington appears in the doorway, a smile upon his face.
Good evening, both.
Unconsciously, I find myself tensing, bracing for what's about to come. If only this man was a hunter, someone I could read past the look on his face and basic human cues. If Harry is an evil man, he's adept at hiding it. His smile is kind even now, and I wonder if he has any idea what kind of situation he's locking himself into. Sir? Harry nods at me, his eyes flicking to August, who's quite visibly distressed and poorly attempting to hide it. I look at them, offering them a clipped smile, hoping it might help them keep it together, lest we both fall apart. Harry, it's good to see you looking well. Their words are forced. Harry doesn't appear to be planning on staying long, his gauntlet, longsword, and coat remaining in place. Instead, he eyes us both as he crosses the room, stepping in front of the fireplace that flickers invitingly.
I have to apologize for my absence. As I'm sure you can imagine, I haven't exactly been in the right frame of mind to hold the whole country on my shoulders, let alone Lunaris.
I'm sure it's been very difficult for you.
They're struggling and mostly failing to keep the exasperation out of their voice. At this point, I wonder if it's just easier to tear the bandage off the wound, expose the rotting flesh, lest August truly cast a storm upon this building. I step forward and August stands quickly, their chair scraping along the marble floor.
Something wrong, Augustus? You don't look well.
Yes, I want to say, they are falling apart much like your town, your country. I quickly wade through the dark tangle of emotions that threaten to engulf me, and I clear my throat. We need to talk to you. Harry nods, still poised, still apparently completely clueless. I look to August, and they are in no state to initiate this conversation. Their hands are shaking, and I gather we're just seconds away from a messy display of untamed magic. Raven? Harry quickly looks between us, finally focusing upon me when he sees that August is the lost cause.
Speak. Now. You're beginning to alarm me.
We're aware of what you're doing, of what you've done. The dead hunters, the missing hunters. He blanches, his skin going pale, but he's no fool, and Harry shifts from someone who's just been caught with blood upon their hands someone painfully in denial in a split second.
I don't know what you're talking about. I ordered you to Lunaris to solve this mess, and you stand here and accuse me.
August scoffs loudly.
And you will stand here and lie to us so easily.
What evidence do you have of the supposed indiscretion you accuse me of?
He says it quickly, defensively, but the words are heavy upon his own tongue. And I use the most powerful weapon I possess. James. Harry freezes, truly turning pale now, all color draining from his ruddy cheeks, his eyes wide with shock and fear and pain at the utterance of his husband's name. I swear that if I listen closely enough, I can hear the furious pounding of his heartbeat as it tries to tear free from his chest. He swallows thickly, then. He laughs. Though it's a manic sound, the laugh of a desperate man. You spoke with him again? For the briefest moment, I feel sorry for him, the way he looks at me almost longingly, desperate for even a scrap of information on his dearly departed. It seems selfish that I would be the one James would choose to communicate with, but he was a good man through and through, and he could see Harry's madness, knew the right thing to do. James doesn't want this, Harry. None of us want this. You have to stop now before it gets even worse. I look at August and they're still seething, their jaw tightly clenched, hands balled into fists at their side. They suck in a breath and drop their gaze from Harry as if they feel too much shame in looking at him. For a fleeting moment, Harry looks wounded.
You must stop, Harry. It's already gone too far.
He frowns, dropping his gaze, but there is no warmth to him anymore. Not even the disapproval of his lost beloved can shame him now.
I will see it through. I have to. I owe it to mankind.
You disappoint me.
August's words are venomous, biting.
Tell us what it is. The blood? The elixir they gave to them when they're merely children.
Harry drags trembling fingers over his face, and in that gesture he could easily be that 20-something enforcer that I saw in my dreams. He looks lost. He closes his eyes, and when he next speaks, I can hear a lifetime's worth of pain in his voice.
Of course it was. Is. What else could it possibly be? It's always blood, isn't it?
Oh, God.
I am sorry I've hurt you, Augustus. I thought you might understand.
August bristles at that, and I sense a seismic shift in the way they hold themselves. They angrily swipe the silent tears that streak their cheeks, and magic swirls about their fingers in messy undulations.
I thought you a friend. A father, even. You've killed people. Our people. We swore to protect them as they swore to protect mankind. We're responsible for them. They put their lives in our hands and trust that we will not put them in danger.
I take a step closer, placing myself in front of them, between them.
We take them from their families when they're children and raise them to believe we're giving them the chance to save the world. And all we gave them was a curse. You took advantage of their trust in you. And you sentenced them to die the second you placed that vial in their hands and told them to drink.
Fuck him up, August. Harry watches him with an almost deluded level of disbelief, as if he couldn't possibly imagine August defying him in such a way.
And what of mankind? They'll overrun us one day, sooner than you think.
I place my hand upon August's arm, tugging gently at them as I move a step forward towards him. But August shakes me off.
I'd rather mankind die an honest death instead of turning into fucking monsters.
They shove a finger in Harry's direction, their cheeks pink with anger.
You are wrong.
Their voice is a rasp of itself, a lost, almost childlike pain threading through their words, harsh enough that Harry flinches. Though his expression is still startlingly cold.
August, do you not see? I wanted us to be on even footing. I came to realize how unfair it is that they hold such an advantage over us. They can do things we could never dream of, and we have these hunters just at our disposal. The untapped potential that lies within them is beyond anything that we can imagine.
Then he turns his gaze to me and he smiles.
Do you realize what this could mean for you? How much more you could be?
Then he makes an almost arrogant, greedy noise. In that moment, I see the Harry that I thought I knew, that August thought they knew, turn to ash. Replaced by a man driven mad by frustration and now grief.
Instead of asking, Am I ready to take on our enemies, you would think there is no stopping me.
Deplorable. Unforgivable. When the initial rush of commingled horror and fury wanes, I clear my throat and address Harry with as much confidence as I can muster. Tell us what you did to them, how you did this, so we know how to undo you. Harry praises me, clearly unimpressed with the tone in which I give him, but he considers me regardless.
You're curious to know how I made them better? How I can help to even the odds?
I am. Tell me how you made me better. I tried to feign interest. I totally didn't feign interest. I was pissed. Hoping to appeal to Harry's arrogance. He might have been driven to desperation, but I can see his tells. He's proud of his idea. He hums a sigh of approval and begins.
A hunter is just a vessel, well-trained and disciplined, not always worldly, but refined to kill. We have provided you with nothing but the best tools to take on your target. Even the most meager of whelps are turned into seasoned soldiers. Resilient individuals, remarkable results. However,
he sighs, disappointed.
Remarkably uninspiring.
Disgust wells up in my throat at his callous comment. Remarkably uninspiring, you say? The anger I feel is matched in kind with August. Their aura is palpable, the air brimming with electricity. August is no hunter, but they were raised to be the best, conditioned to be nothing but the best. It was practically written at their birth.
I know it's upsetting, but please know I'm not disappointed. We merely mean to uplift you with the initiation. It was crafted to prepare you and protect you. We do not go into the field without knowing the danger, and we all experience loss in some form or another.
I'm gonna beat his ass. Me and August are gonna beat his ass. His speech cracks for a mere second. I know of the loss he speaks about. I've seen it. But is that enough? As quickly as it goes, his posture uprights again.
The elixir is a means to a promising end. It threads together the strengths of our foes without the consequences of their inherently evil nature. By imbibing this, it gives hunters the edge they need.
Harry continues, and he's enchanted with his own words. To be better than them is what he considers a passable means to change us. I wouldn't be surprised if he told us he was disappointed in our human design.
The drawbacks, or curse, as you would so inelegantly put it, is merely an unfortunate side effect of its blessing. Like all science, there is trial and error. I have seen the errors and made strides to correct them.
Just like the Chimera. I think Harry might be irritated with how plainly I lay out that I already know, but instead he nods, something like respect crossing his features. As your speculations have led you to believe, yes, the Chimera is such a result. And then his face drops at the name. Clearly you are perceptive of how much is still a question, but bear in mind that this is a sacrifice for me too.
And why didn't you take it?
August finally finds her voice again, but it's hoarse, venom spilling from every word.
If the consequences were so great and you were so desperate, then why didn't you take it upon yourself? Speaking of sacrifices like you count them as your own, but you still used others for your own means.
Yeah, you used your own husband. He loved you very much, and you fucking did this to him. Playing with creation by his whims and tossing aside the victims as unfortunate accidents. How are we expected to believe in your sacrifice when it barely comes across that you understand where we stand? You used us. Harry looks to the both of us, this time without remorse, and the scene playing out is unfamiliar. I don't remember Harry looking so scornful.
The sacrifices are my own. The blood is upon my hands, and it is a burden I am willing to carry if it means we can defeat them. I am expected to lead them, to guide them, make sure our path is set straight.
You can reduce yourselves to mere tools if you wish. What I do is for the greater good.
I may not partake in all your battles, but that does not mean I don't lose myself in this war. Besides, I'm not worthy, am I? I'm no hunter, after all.
He turns back to me now and raises his chin, staring past his nose at me.
Tell me, hunter, provided you had the choice to find a way to protect the things and people that you love as I have, would you do it?
I wouldn't fucking go the same way about it that you did. No! Would I? The question rattles around in my brain as do all the other words I have stood witness to, but more quickly than I thought, my gut responds. Would I do everything to protect Ezra? Absolutely. I would. There's a pause, and Harry exhales. His eyes flutter shut, and he smiles with some relief. When he opens them, they are less harsh, more inquisitive to us, as though the three of us have had a trivial spat.
Then you understand why this must continue, and, most importantly, why I expect your full cooperation.
Fuck no. Condemn him, but lie. The look August shoots me is sharp and credulous, their expression cracking open to reveal vulnerability I've never seen before. It's beautiful, but frightening in its own way. As if I can hear them say, no, don't. I hold their gaze, hoping they can see what I'm doing, that they trust me. Please. They exhale sharply, their eyes frantically flickering between Harry and I, and then they nod. It's quick enough for Harry to miss because his focus is upon me and me alone. I'm the one he wants, the one he needs. Though I know my words are not honest, it still pains me to say them. Yes, I understand. You have my cooperation. Harry inclines his head, gesturing for me to follow him. I swallow thickly, unmoving, literally stuck to the spot beside August as I come to terms with what I'm about to do. They're falling apart, their magic glow and messy fissures around their skin like cracks in porcelain. I want to tell them I have to do this for the sake of Lunaris, to learn what he plans to do so we can defeat him, or whatever he has in store for us. And yet I can't, so August looks at me as though I've just signed the town's death warrant. August. They shake their head, averting their gaze.
Get out.
Harry lets out a deep chuckle, his eyes crinkling in the corners in genuine amusement.
Always so dramatic. Come now, we cannot waste time convincing someone as stubborn as Augustus. They'll come around eventually.
I throw them one last lingering look, hoping with every fiber of my being that August can see through the facade. They can see I'm still loyal to them, to the town. And that I would risk my own life to head into the lion's den with the lion himself, guiding me gently by the hand. The drip, drip, drip of water upon stone drowns out the rush of blood in my ears, and I follow the tall figure deeper into the darkness. His boots are heavy, steps echoing, and I can hear the gentle scratch of his claw-tipped gauntlet as he drags his fingers along the metal bars of the cells as we pass. Enforcer guards line the walls, and they stand to attention, eyes wide. I slowly begin to see why the enforcers had so dutifully followed his nefarious plan. They're terrified. We come to a halt outside one of the farthest cells that sit in the darker corner of the dungeon, and Harry stands before it proudly, an almost loving gaze shining in his eyes. Take a look, Raven. He gestures for me to step closer, his voice warm and inviting, and I swallow away the fear that claws up my throat, threatening to choke me. I nod, stealing my gaze, and I step forward to peek between the bars. I see a mass looming in the almost darkness. It's her. Her misshapen form unidentifiable as neither human nor creature. With a quiet whimper, she opens her eyes.
Isn't she beautiful?
Aya. Harry hums a satisfied noise.
My proudest creation yet. She is truly a work of art. Don't you agree?
I clear my throat, and though I feel horror from seeing her, I also feel drawn to her. There's a strange, almost undeniable connection thrown between us, and it's as though I can feel the lingering threads of her humanity, of the hunter within her. Strangely, it seems to me like a prayer, and I find myself having to pay mind to the fact that I'm here to lie, to gather information. It still leaves me feeling sick. There's something about seeing it, about seeing her, that makes my blood turn cold in my veins. She's perfect.
Not quite, but she's close.
What do you mean? God, that's a creepy noise. Harry sighs, and Aya lunges forward, sharpened teeth snapping. He remains unaffected despite her violent display, and he simply inclines his head towards her, watching her with unabashed fondness.
She was an unwilling subject. Both of them were. I think that may be where I've been going wrong. To succeed, to achieve what I've always longed to, I believe the hunter in question must be prepared to undergo the transformation.
I look back towards the cell, and Aya has once again retreated into the darkness, no longer visible other than a pair of glowing crimson eyes. Is that what you're asking of me? Harry pauses, carefully considering his response. Why do you think I called you here? I asked for the best, and they sent me you. At first I thought they were toying with me. This hunter, who befriends those who make a point of defying me.
The curious witch, the vampire who so desperately longs to be human, the disgraced hunter, the wolf, and the demon who so graciously weakened the barrier between realms without even realizing. And then there's Augustus.
He smiles, something sad, his lashes dipping.
I did hope they would see reason, but something seems to have made them less helpless, less easily swayed.
Regardless, come. I have much to do. I cast Aya a final fleeting glance. I steal my gaze as I follow Harry out of the dungeons. My heart hammers loudly as we approach August's office, but the lack of light streaming from beneath the door tells me we'll find it empty. Harry tuts when my suspicions are confirmed, and he looks at me with a sad smile when we step inside.
I did hope they'd still be here. Maybe you would have been able to convince them to help.
I offer him a clipped smile, trying my hardest to seem complacent. Now, the terms of our agreement. He flexes the fingers of his gauntlet, the steel creaking quietly.
Aya is increasingly volatile, and I loathe to admit that I can't control her any longer. So, I want to waste no time. We'll start you on your first dose right away.
Then he reaches into his coat and produces a vial. It feels eerily familiar, and the sight of dark, viscous liquid encased in delicate glass makes me feel sick. He holds it high, gazing at it, shamelessly proud of his nefarious creation.
You know, I would give anything to be able to take it. I suspect I would withstand it quite beautifully.
The moonlight that shines through the window hits the glass, the liquid more black than the red I remember from my dream, and my stomach churns.
But we can't all have what we wish for, can we? Instead, we'll do it together.
He tucks the vial back into his pocket, patting the heavy fabric.
Now, I suppose you'd better go home and get some well-deserved rest. You'll need your strength. We'll begin tomorrow.
Holy shit. This is so creepy. I feel so gross that I'm doing this even though I'm lying. I feel so gross about it. My stomach churns, but I nod curtly. Yes, Lieutenant General. He laughs, stepping forward to rest his hand upon my shoulder and fixing me with a gaze that, though earnest, sends a chill rolling down my spine.
Please, call me Harry.
I contemplate my next move. I could drag myself back to my room into the wolf and drown in misery alone, I suppose. They say hunters sleep with one eye open, but enforcers sleep with two, and you don't get as far as Harry without paying full attention. There's no use hating him, not now. I've seen what I need to in order to make my choice, and yet it still hurts, and a strategic part of me loathes the fact that I lied. If I'd gone with him down there, witnessed the true horror of his crimes. If I have some explaining to do, I know it will be worth it. Especially now as I think about Aya and Piper and August. Enforcer passes me, sparing me a glance before they avert their gaze, their head down. They scurry away from me quickly, and I almost smile, fascinated at how fast gossip apparently travels in our dear agency. With a heavy sigh, I decided the best thing to do would be sleeping off this evening and to face the wrath of my friends in the morning. A headache is starting to develop behind my eyes by the time I open the door to the tavern and step inside. Despite the hour, there's hardly anyone in here, and my eyes are immediately drawn to a pair of hunched figures and the familiar enforcer black and gold in the corner. The attention isn't reciprocated, and they stay where they are, muttering amongst themselves. Just some colleagues enjoying some cheap booze after work, nothing more. There's no reason to believe Harry would spy on me so openly, right? Maybe not, but surely he'll at the very least keep an eye on me? Then something pulls me from my thoughts, a familiar, warm aura. But there's an edge to it, like something isn't quite right, a feeling of uncertainty that sets my stomach churning. It's then that I see him. Ezra sitting in a quiet corner, no drink before him, and with sadness in his eyes. Oh, I hope I didn't ruin things with Ezra. My heart lurches. But Raven. I take a seat before him, trying to make sense of his mood.
August came to see me.
Ah, that'll do it. I can explain. He shakes his head, a subtle movement, easy to miss if I wasn't staring at him so intently.
Not here.
I see the two enforcers that only moments ago I disregarded as innocent, and yet now they watch us with burning curiosity, talking quietly between themselves. I nod, standing, and I walk out into the darkness with Ezra not too far behind me. Ezra locks the shop door quickly once we're inside, pressing his palms to the wood and muttering a quiet incantation. His words come to life, a quiet emerald glow, flashing and fading, and then he relaxes.
August was distraught. They came to me begging me to make you see sense. What happened? What did you do?
I see the disappointment in his eyes as he stares at me, expectant. I would hope that Ezra trusts me not to betray him. Betray all of them. But maybe I was more convincing than I thought. It isn't what you think. I just need to see for myself. I take a step towards him, and he looks as though he might step back, but he doesn't. When I reach for him, he comes to me.
When I heard that you'd gone with him, I thought I might never see you again.
I see tears brimming his eyes, and I tug him closer and need him closer. I'm sorry. He takes a deep breath, and he takes me by the hand. The shift in his aura is almost immediate, as if he didn't truly believe that I could do such a thing, and all he needed was to hear the words.
You must be exhausted. Would you like to stay with me tonight?
Of course. As if I would ever say no. I couldn't be more content when I settled upon Ezra's pillowy bed, the sheets soft and somehow already warm beneath my aching limbs. He hums to himself as he changes into his nightclothes, offering me little glances over his shoulder, almost as if he's checking I'm still here. When he joins me, he takes my hand, squeezing tightly.
Do you want to talk about what happened?
I do, but everything feels so jumbled in my tired brain, and right now all I can think about is curling up beside him. I just need you to know that I am going to do the right thing. He smiles, soft and beautiful.
I know that now. I'm sorry I doubted you. I was just so scared.
Unable to resist, I pressed a quick kiss to his lips. His eyes are bright when I meet his gaze, and he takes my face in his hands, pausing and then guiding me in for another. Kissing Ezra always feels like coming home, the warmth of his skin a comfort unmatched. We climb beneath the sheets, eagerly tangling our limbs and finding solace in the fact that we have each other. He pulls away just an inch and offers me another one of those blinding smiles, and the twinkling lights that hang above us flicker and fade. Magic. I visit August first thing, and when they open their door and invite me inside, I'm met with silence. I had to check that you know that I was deceiving him. That I would never do such a thing. August's fingers twitch, but they slowly offer me a clipped smile.
I know. That was one of the hardest things I've ever had to witness. You've become very dear to me. Seeing you walk out of that door with him, not knowing what he would do or where he would take you, it hurt.
It kills me to see that I've hurt them, but to hear them say that they do trust me suits me. I would never betray your trust, not after all we've been through together. The smile that blooms across their lips is bright and earnest.
I'm grateful for your friendship, and I trust you implicitly. We will see this through together, and I'll have your back. Always.
They take a deep breath, exhaling slowly, and the tension that was present melts from their shoulders.
Now tell me, what did you see?
He has Aya in his cell. There's not even a glimmer of her human form left. I see. He means for me to take the potions he's concocted. He says that he believes me to be worthy. If someone is willing, then he's convinced that the potion will work differently. August scoffs, rolling their eyes, and their sadness seems to have turned into exasperation. His pride will be the death of us all, won't it?
We'll need to gather everyone and come up with some kind of plan, and quickly.
I nod. Right away. That afternoon, we meet in the catacombs, aware that's probably the only location in town at this point where Harry cannot have us watched. There's a growing awkward silence between us, August frowning down at their feet with sudden intense concentration. I almost laughed at the sight of this mismatched group huddled in Finn's quarters, and Finn's eyes are firmly fixed upon Piper, who unabashedly pokes and prods his belongings. She picks up what I assume to be a very real human skull, staring deep into its vacant eye sockets and smirking smugly at our undone companion.
This what you use to practice your flirting every night?
Finn grinned, shrugging with a cocky kind of nonchalance.
I don't need to practice.
Piper scoffs, placing it back upon the shelf. Sure. August groans loudly. Right, can we please get on with this? I can already feel my skin cursing me for spending so much time down in this damp pit. Then they all pointedly look at me, and I realize that the floor is mine. Right, yes. Omen and Alcar are patrolling the woods, making sure that we know where the best spot to meet Harry will be. Ezra raises his hand, and August rolls their eyes at his politeness. How are we going to get him to come find you? And how do you know he'll have Aya with him? Piper's gaze drops to the floor at the mention of her friend's name. He'll come. He means to give me his concoction and have me drink it. I'll figure that part out when I get to it, I suppose.
I'm guessing we don't need to advise you that drinking it would be a terrible idea, no? Your acting doesn't need to be that good.
Yes, General. Then Piper clears her throat. I need to be the one to stop Aya. Everyone looks at her, gaze is sympathetic.
She was my friend, and I might not be able to save her, but I can make sure it's as quick as possible.
August wraps an arm around her shoulder and pulls her close, their embrace quick but meaningful. We understand. Whatever you need.
And what of us? What do you need us to do?
Before I can respond, August steps forward.
Have our backs if necessary. Other than that, just stay hidden. The last thing we need is to rile him up further by flaunting our alliance with the very creatures he longs to eliminate.
Especially once he realizes that Raven has deceived him. We can't imagine how he'll react, but it won't be well. Ezra casts me a worried glance, and I long to reach out to him to tell him that I'll be fine. Instead, I simply hope that I can convey it with the small smile I offer him. Encouraging, nothing if not warm. So I'm using myself as bait, essentially. Fun. He'll pay for what he's done.
Then all we need to do is wait.
Finn scoffs, crossing his arms over his broad chest.
Remember what I said about him. He is strong and clever. Don't let the fact that he's human give you pause. You don't need to hold back.
If I've learned anything about Harry in the years I've known him, it's that he never backs down when he has his sights set on something. August sighs, worrying their bottom lip between their teeth.
Yes, Finnegan is right. That he doesn't give a damn about the cost of his actions anymore either, clearly.
That thought has my skin prickling with heat, my hair standing on end. He truly will stop at nothing. James's death proved that to us all. We'll end this. Once and for all. It's dusk in Lunaris. My feet are sore, my eyes tired, and all I can think about is how much I can't wait for all of this to be over. In school they trained us to kill monsters, and the irony of my current predicament does not escape me. Despite countless hours of training and study, nothing could have ever prepared me to fight my greatest enemy yet, the Lieutenant General of Escria. Harry is the true culprit, and it's still hard to grasp that he's the one responsible for the gruesome murders that brought me here. As I sink further into the town, the feeling of dread that's been constant in the pit of my stomach since I arrived strangely seems to dissipate. I wander with purpose through the narrow streets, hyper-focused on the task in hand. I'm ready to ensure this place I've come to call my home is once again safe, in the hands of those that truly care for it. The only thing that distracts me from such thoughts is the way the sky begins to turn from purple to an inky, infinite black. I turn a corner and I'm met with a familiar sight of people moving to get inside as darkness overtakes the town. The sound of doors slamming and locking echoes off the crooked stonework. Curtains are drawn, windows closed, and then darkness. Although the stars are shining brightly at a glance and the crescent moon hangs low, neither offer much light. I think back to the first night I arrived and how much my life has changed since. A lump forms in my throat as I realize that I've been gifted what I haven't known since childhood. A home, a family to call my own. So many things have been taken from me, from all of us. I straighten my shoulders, taking a deep breath. No more. Then I think about Ezra, the man who so easily fills those around him with everything good and bright. who has done nothing but try to help people without question, without ulterior motive. And he chose me, accepted me into his home and his heart. No matter how hard I try, I cannot even imagine what it would be like to be without him. Determination licks through my bones, and I pick up my pace, boots heavy and loud against the cobblestones. The instincts that have been ingrained in me since my initiation into the order kick in, and I know that I will win this fight. After all, I haven't lost one yet. Alright, we are going to end things here. But if you've been enjoying the game, if you've been enjoying the video, if you've been enjoying the series, if you enjoy my narration, my little bits of commentary, what have you, it would be really swell if you could hit those like and subscribe buttons. Maybe leave a comment if you're feeling generous, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.